Hi, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. Plastic Models for Beginners in the Back to Basics series with the Tamiya 1/48 scale Grumman F4F-4 Wildcat. So here the kit is all finished. Couple of things to note. First of all, I haven't done a U.S. Navy aircraft since I was a little kid, and I don't even remember what it was that I did. I think it was an Avenger. But I have to say that I do like the subject, and I will definitely be building more World War II naval aircraft in the future. This kit right here, which is kit number 61034 by Tamiya, was done in 1994. Overall, it's a pretty good kit. I liked it. There was a few things that were kind of rough. One being the landing gear assembly and the mounting hardware underneath all of this, the struts and the parts on the inside here that are installed before you put the fuselage together, and then you put the fuselage around it, and it just it fit together inside okay, but there was something out of alignment, and I'm sure it was something that I did, because I don't really remember reading anything in other reviews about there being a problem with that. So that could have been something of my doing. But I had to trim off a little bit of the inside here where the white attaches to the black here. I had to trim off a little bit of that to get the whole thing to fit down flush enough to mount this part here. So again, that's probably my own fault, and after I cut it off, it was fine. It was easy to deal with. But other than that, the kit is a good kit. It fits together well. All of the seam lines, they fit together really well. We needed very little cleanup. Overall, it's a fun kit to build. Some things I had a little bit of problem with. The main thing was, other than that landing gear thing, was the decals. And as you can see, the decals worked fine on the wings, top and bottom. These decals here worked fine, but these here, as I mentioned in my last video of the build series, they seemed kind of brittle, and when I went to use a Q-tip to get out the excess decal solution from underneath, as I rolled it, it started breaking and tearing apart. The rivets punched through. Generally with Tamiya decals, the biggest problem I have with them is just the thickness of them. But in this case, they just seem to be kind of brittle. One decal, I don't remember which one it was. I think it was this tail piece here, actually tore, and I had to fix that. But other than decals being kind of weird, it was a good kit overall. For a beginner kit, I would definitely recommend it as a beginner kit. There's nothing in the kit that can't be overcome by even a beginner. It might help to have, maybe one or two kits under your belt. And the only reason I say that is just because of the undercarriage. It was a little bit tricky, but nothing really serious. So anyway, it was a fun kit to build. One thing I have to say about these early war U.S. naval aircraft is I really like the color scheme. This medium blue gray, or whatever they call it, it looks really good. I really liked it. Same with the gray underneath. It's just a couple of colors I've never really worked with, and I like the way it turned out. So that's pretty much it on the kit. As far as recommendation, I definitely recommend getting it. There are a few things that a person can do to make the build easier, or maybe a little more accurate. One thing that I opted for was the Edward mask set EX092 for this particular kit, and it was a lot of help because it made masking off the canopy and the windscreen, made that a lot easier. It also came with masks for here, this light underneath here. It came with a mask that covers this whole thing, so all you have showing is the lights underneath there. There's masks for these. There's even masks for the wheels, including the tail wheel, which is really super tiny, and I don't know how you'd use it, but it's pretty inexpensive, and it worked really good. It was worth a few bucks I spent for it. You know, again, it's not something that couldn't be done with masking tape, but I opted in this case to use a masking kit just so I could show the beginning modeler how to use them, how easy they are to use, and that there is an alternative to making your own masks. So that was good. Another thing that would make the kit a little nicer if you wanted to add something is Squadron makes, and I'm sure somebody else does too, but Squadron makes a canopy for this kit that, from what I've read, is pretty good. It's a lot thinner than the kit provided canopy, so you can pose it in the open position without splaying the canopy open more. Looks kind of weird. But, you know, other than that, the rest of it was fine. One thing I do want to note is, as you can see on this thing, the recessed detail, you know, the recessed rivets, the recessed access doors here for like the guns, panel lines, you know, the protruding rivets, the trim tabs, stuff like that. The engraving on it is really, really nice. And you know, this is one of those kits where using a panel line wash or something like that, in my opinion, really isn't necessary. A person could skip that altogether and just go on to fading the paint, chipping the paint, whatever they're going to do. So, which brings me to another point. As you can see, this aircraft is nice and pristine clean. And that was the intention with this kit, because it was for the beginner series. And I'm going to do weathering on the kit in a later video and show how I do that. But anyway, and it was kind of nice to build just a clean aircraft for a change. Don't have any of those. So anyway, the Tamiya kit, great kit, a lot of fun, enjoyed building it. For those of you that have followed along on the build series of this, I hope it's been somewhat helpful. I guess at times I tend to blah 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 blah, and it was brought to my attention that that's the case sometimes, and you know, I apologize for that. But while I'm doing something, I got to be saying something, because it gets kind of boring just watching me do work, and I am trying to help the beginners out, so I try and add helpful commentary. So anyway, that's that. If you followed along, I hope you enjoyed it. So with that, I'm going to call this video done. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hints, tips, gripes, anything, please put them in the comments below, and I will respond as quickly as I can. Remember, if you do have suggestions or even complaints, constructive comments are helpful. I appreciate those, and it helps me try, not always successfully, to do better videos for you guys. So anyway, that's it. That is the Tamiya 1/48 scale F4F-4 Wildcat. So until next time, hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later.